Please subscribe my channel. I never thought a simple dinner would turn everything upside down. It was meant to be a normal evening, the sort of calm midweek meal that married couples have to pretend things are okay. Emily chose the spot, a cozy little Italian restaurant we both loved years ago, back when we laughed without effort. I saw right away that she hardly glanced at me when the waiter took our orders. Her phone was face down on the table, but her mind was clearly miles away. I told myself not to overthink it. I'd been doing that too much lately. My name is Alex. I'm 36 years old. We've been married for 11 years and together for 14. I work in supply chain management, long shifts, steady paycheck, nothing exciting. I always believed that being reliable was important. Emily used to tell me that's what made her feel secure with me. That evening, she let out a heavy sigh while twirling her pasta. It was as if the whole table was bothering her. I asked about her day. She replied, "Fine," in that flat way people do when they want the talk to end. A long quiet followed. The sound of forks and knives filled the air. Then she looked straight at me and asked, "Do you ever wonder where things went wrong?" I smiled, assuming she was kidding, and said, "Everyone does from time to time." Her lips pressed together tightly. She leaned back and said it plainly, almost like she didn't care. "Honestly, marrying you was the biggest mistake I ever made." The words didn't hit me right away. They sank in slowly, like dye spreading in water. My face grew hot, then empty and cold. At nearby tables, people were laughing and raising glasses for a birthday. None of it seemed real. I asked what she meant. She shrugged and explained that she felt stuck, like she had settled for less, like she could have done so much more if she hadn't picked me. She said it calmly, without any anger, and that made it hurt even more. I didn't fight back. I didn't try to defend myself. I just sat there and listened. Suddenly, all those little put-downs over the years made sense. The times I ignored them to keep the peace. The late evenings alone. The way her warmth turned into something she gave only when she felt like it. The little digs at me in front of our friends. I realized this wasn't just a rough evening. This was the truth she had been holding in for a long time. We paid the check without speaking. Outside, the night air felt cold and sharp. She walked ahead to the car, keys already out. I asked if she wanted to talk more once we got home. She said there was nothing left to discuss. On the drive, she stared out the window, scrolling on her phone with a small smile. I didn't ask about it. At home, she headed straight to the bathroom for a shower. I sat on the bed, trying to catch my breath. Her words, "biggest mistake," kept repeating in my head. I thought about the younger me who got down on one knee, full of nerves and hope. I wondered when I had turned into something she regretted. About an hour later, things changed again. Emily came into the bedroom in a towel, still looking at her phone with a smile. She didn't see me at first. When she did, her expression changed. I asked softly who she was texting. She stopped moving. Then she said, "Just a friend." The lie hung in the air like smoke. I stood up and grabbed my jacket. She asked where I was going. I told her I needed some fresh air. She rolled her eyes, the same way she did whenever I reacted instead of just taking it. As I reached the door, her phone buzzed again. This time, no smile came. Her face went tense as she read quickly. Whatever it was made her go pale. I stepped out into the hallway, my heart racing, not from rage, but from a sudden clear view. For the first time, I wasn't lost or begging for her attention. I knew something had broken, and it wasn't my fault. It felt heavier than simple sadness, but it was real. And for once, that realness felt like freedom, just for me. I didn't go far. I drove around the block a few times and parked under a street lamp. I turned off the engine and sat with my hands on the wheel. The silence wasn't crushing anymore. It felt true. My phone vibrated once, then again. Messages from Emily. I let them sit unread. For years, I'd been the one seeking answers, fixing problems, saying sorry for things that weren't mine. That night, I stayed quiet. 10 minutes went by, then 20. When I walked back in, the house felt changed, like it already understood an ending. Emily was on the couch, phone in her lap, eyes puffy and red. The earlier smile was completely gone. She looked up quickly, as if she'd been watching the door. I asked what was wrong. She said nothing at first. I asked again, more gently. She whispered that the person she'd been chatting with wasn't who she believed. He was married, had lied the whole time, and now was ending things because it was getting too serious. I nodded, not out of pity, but because it all clicked into place. I sat down across from her and said, "So that's why I became your mistake." She winced. She insisted she hadn't meant it that way. She was mixed up, felt alone, and was trying to feel alive and excited again. I listened, staying calm while remembering every word. When she was done, she asked if we could work it out. An hour earlier, she had called marrying me her biggest regret. Words like, "that don't just disappear when the person feels bad later." I told her I wasn't mad, but I was finished acting like this was only a tough phase instead of her slowly pulling away. She cried a lot. She reached for my hand. I didn't move away, but I didn't hold it back either. That night, I slept in the spare room, not to punish her, but because I finally saw things clearly. The next morning, I brewed coffee like usual. She stood in the doorway, quiet and hesitant. I said we needed real distance, not just awkward quiet with false hope. She asked if I was moving out. I replied, not yet. But we both sensed the change. In the weeks that followed, I watched her try to become the warm, attentive partner I'd wanted for years. She asked about my day. She laughed at my jokes. She touched my arm like she meant it. And that's when the hardest part hit me. I'd craved this side of her for so long, but now it felt too delayed. Not because my feelings were gone, but because trust and respect don't just restart when someone decides they want them back. One night, she asked if I still loved her. I thought for a moment and said I loved the couple we used to be and the effort I put in to make her happy. But I no longer loved how small I'd let myself feel. She nodded, tears falling steadily, like she truly understood for the first time. We began separating quietly. No yelling, no big fights, just two grown-ups facing the facts. Our friends were surprised at how peaceful it seemed. They thought peaceful meant simple. It didn't. It meant we'd already battled it out in quiet ways years before. Months later, I bumped into her at a supermarket in Seattle. She gave a genuine polite smile, but not the warm one from our early days. We chatted briefly about jobs and everyday life. When we parted, I felt lighter, not just relieved, but truly unburdened. Love doesn't always finish with cheating. Sometimes it ends when the truth comes out too late. Being called someone's biggest mistake doesn't mean you weren't enough. Sometimes it means you grew beyond the limited spot they wanted you to fill. If this touched you, think about what matters more in a relationship, love or respect.